I think it goes to show without saying that I am a huge fan of professional wrestling. If you've ever watched any one of my videos, I've always made references or jokes that are wrestling related. Considering how hot and exciting the world of wrestling is at the moment, top talent departing and making their names known elsewhere on a weekly basis, so much so that it's trending daily on Twitter, and the majority of fans speculating that it's near the legendary peak that it once was back in the late 90s. Now more than ever, it's certainly a great time to be a fan of professional wrestling. Meanwhile, in Japan, Japanese pro wrestling, or puroresu, has begun mixed receptions over the past year now, mainly towards my personal favorite source of entertainment, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Since their return from the COVID pandemic, many NJPW fans have been questioning the product as of late, largely due to the cluster and confused booking over the past year and a half.
That's why this company's in the damn shape it's in, because of bullshit like this.
And the unfortunate timing and circumstances regarding some events. With the most recent example being the Wrestle Grand Slam at the Tokyo Dome show, where one of the participants caught a case of pneumonia and had to be replaced. Still a classic main event nonetheless, and that's why I choose to stick around and show my support. It shows how good New Japan is with last-minute booking, with what limited resources they have on hand. I consider New Japan's current roster as the best roster of talent in modern-day wrestling, and the greatest showcase of their roster is through their yearly annual tournament. The most exciting time of the year for Japanese wrestling. I'm talking, of course, about the G1 Climax. What exactly is the G1 Climax? The G1 Climax is the biggest and most elite tournament of all of Japanese pro wrestling, dating back to the first tournament in 1991. The G1 Climax is designed to be a big showcase of the best talent of wrestlers in the world. 2 blocks of 10 wrestlers compete in a round-robin style tournament over the course of a month. If you win a match, you earn 2 points. If you lose a match, you earn 0 points. If a match ends in a 30-minute time limit draw, each wrestler will earn 1 point each. On the final night, the A block finalist faces the B block finalist in the final match. The ultimate winner of the whole tournament wins a briefcase, which holds a contract for a guaranteed main event title shot at New Japan's biggest show of the year, Wrestle Kingdom. The final match of the tournament are usually the most exciting match of the year, with the most cathartic moments and finishes of the year. Not only the stakes are high, what's expected every year is to see the best wrestling in the world and a stockpile list of match of the year candidates. My personal favorite night in wrestling history is October 10th, 2020, day 13 of G1 Climax 30. The first match on the card has nothing to do with the G1 Climax tournament. Mainly, it's to get the crowd excited for the rest of the night. The Young Lions would be the first match on each of the cards throughout the whole tournament. The Young Lions being wrestlers in training, which explains why they lack the colorful attires and charismatic personalities and gimmicks. These types of matches are basically a learning tool for young up-and-coming wrestlers like myself, like how to sell moves, ring psychology, and storytelling. This first match is between Yota Tsuji and Yuya Uemura. Other than a slight botch midway through the match, this might be my favorite Young Lions match. It's just overall great back and forth action, very crisp beginners wrestling, great pacing too, clocking in a little over 9 minutes. I love the finishing stretch of this match, being that Uemura throughout the whole match kept working on Tsuji's arm, which was smart because Tsuji went for the Boston Crab submission move. Tsuji was desperate enough to do a one-handed Boston Crab, which I don't think I've ever seen done before, which led to Uemura to legit bunny hop his way to the rope break. Both men got back up, and Uemura hits a beautiful arm drag with a grapevine, absolutely wrenching on Tsuji's arm. But in the end, all it took was a double underhook suplex for Uemura to get the victory. It's a very good match, and just enough to get the viewers and the crowd excited for the rest of the show. What really kicks the show into another gear, however, is our next match. A rather beefy battle between Jeff Cobb and the Stone Pitbull Tomohiro Ishii. This is a rematch of Cobb's first G1 match of the prior year. Even though Ishii is the G1's MVP every year, I felt like this match was a great way to show off Jeff Cobb's amazing wrestling skills. Jeff Cobb is the real star in this match. A majority of the match's highlights are Jeff Cobb's unbelievable agility or his freak of nature strength. Ishii is no slouch, however. He holds his own against Cobb with his gritty style of wrestling. The match ends with Ishii charging at Cobb, gets caught with a pop-up powerbomb, gets picked back up, and Cobb hits him with the Tour of the Islands for the victory. I think this match was perfect for what it needed to be, and what it needed to be was a way to get the crowd hyped for the night of G1 Climax action. And what better way to do so than a quick, beefy match with two gritty wrestlers? I recommend this match for non-Japanese wrestling fans and non-wrestling fans in general. Like I said, it's a pretty quick match, clocking in at 14 minutes and 57 seconds. Another reason why I love the G1 Climax every year is for the majority of the matches. It's a great way for newer viewers who don't watch New Japan or wrestling in general to see awesome wrestling and hopefully stick around and might become fans themselves. You don't necessarily need to binge watch the backstory to understand this match. All you need to know is that the winner gains 2 points in the tournament, and the commentators will tell you that from the start. Our next match is between the Tokyo Pimp, Yujiro Takahashi, and Switchblade Jay White. Despite me saying that you don't need to binge watch past content to understand stories for the G1 Climax to have a better viewing experience, sometimes when a storyline is a factor towards a match, it's usually quite simple to understand. Depends on if you pay attention to the commentary or if you're watching it with fans that'll just summarize the story for you. The story behind this match is that both wrestlers are on the same heel faction known as Bullet Club, with Jay White being the leader. And as expected, liberties were going to be taken. Jay White comes down in his street clothes because he's expecting Takahashi to lay down for him to give him an easy 2 points. Takahashi lays down, but kicks out. Takahashi tells Jay that he was only kidding and lays down again, but kicks out again. It's known that people who are a part of Bullet Club are known not to be trusted. With Jay White confused, Takahashi tries to roll him up, but Jay White kicks out. From there, it's a back and forth finishing stretch that ends with Jay White hitting the Blade Runner and getting the 2-point victory in just over 3 minutes. After the match, Jay goes to the outside and grabs a chair. He's so heated from the match that he's planning to hit his own Bullet Club friend with it, but his manager Gedo tells him to calm down. Match quality wise, it's the worst match of the night, no doubt, but it didn't need to be a match. It needed to be an example that in this tournament, no matter if you're a part of a faction or not, every man is for themselves, and no one should be trusted. If you view it like that, it's a perfect way to show that to newer viewers, instead of explaining to viewers in such a long, boring, drawn-out way. Just give them a quick and easy example of storytelling. Show, don't tell. With that match out of the way, the event goes into intermission. When we come back, we'll see not one, but 2 matches which I consider to be all-time classics. Actually, I wanted to take the time out of this video to plug in my Twitch channel. You can follow me and watch me play games on twitch.tv/PapaRaintism. Since at the time of recording this, it is October just began, so now I'm starting to play Silent Hill for the first time ever for the month of October, you know, spooky season. Yeah, with that out of the way, please go follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/PapaRaintism, and yeah, back to the video.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. What the fuck?
Coming back from intermission, we have an ego battle between the Emperor Taichi and the aerial assassin Will Offspray. This match starts off with Taichi using blatant heel tactics, such as hitting Offspray with the ring bell hammer and choking him out with the camera cable. Offspray makes a comeback with his high-flying ring style, hitting a beautiful Sasuke special. As controversial opinions differ when it comes to viewing Offspray as a person, as a wrestler though, it's hard to deny that the man is talented.
Catches him the 3rd time, shooting star press, springboard. How about that?
The finishing stretch of this match kicks in after Taichi rips off his tearaway pants. I know, just stick with me. The closing moments has great back and forth sequences and well-timed spots, but all it took was for Offspray to hit an Oz cutter out of nowhere, beheads Taichi with the hidden blade, and finished him off with the Stormbreaker, picking up the win in just over 16.5 minutes. After the match, we see Offspray celebrate his victory with Japanese commentator Miyalano Collection AT. With this arrogant attitude of his, only plants the seeds for the eventual Offspray heel turn, which will occur near the end of the G1, killing off the aerial assassin and turning a new leaf to become the Commonwealth Kingpin. Like I said, it's an interesting clash of styles that I haven't really seen very often. It's kind of disappointing how Offspray isn't going to be in this year's G1 Climax, because I would honestly love to see a rematch between these two. Seeing how more fleshed out Offspray is now, and how much of a main event player Taichi has been lately, it would honestly be a highlighted match the next time these two meet. Speaking of highlighted matches, these next two matches are two of my all-time favorite matches in pro wrestling history. Kodabushi is someone who I pay close attention to every G1 Climax. His matches are often not only the best ones of the night, but the most unique ones as well. 2020 was a year that Kodabushi had a lot to prove. He was determined to become the ultimate wrestler, the complete wrestler. In other words, God. By doing so, he needed to master all wrestling styles. Very easily, he could do high-flying offense to get an easy 2 points against Minoru Suzuki. Kodabushi is not like that though. He is someone who wants to earn a victory. He wants to wrestle this match in Minoru Suzuki's style and surpass him. For people who aren't aware, Minoru Suzuki, nicknamed Murder Grandpa, is one of, if not the greatest heel in pro wrestling history. His gimmick is that he's an old, stubborn, grumpy bastard who can legitimately beat your ass, all with a smile on his face. The man legit beats up young lions and other wrestlers in training as a sign of respect. And Kodabushi wants to wrestle Suzuki's stubborn style? Little stories like that, mixed with two wrestlers who I've always wanted to see have a match together, is again another reason why I love the G1 Climax so much. The first several minutes of this match starts out with a shoot style type of wrestling you'd see in like an actual fight or in Pancrase. It doesn't look choreographed, it just looks like both are going off script and start actually doing martial arts type of sparring session. All while Suzuki has a little smirk on his face. It eventually escalates to the outside where Suzuki goes up the rampway and encourages Ibushi to join him. Ibushi doesn't back down however, he walks up and gets in Suzuki's face. Both men have a back and forth which ends with Suzuki punching Ibushi in the neck. For newer viewers who don't watch a lot of Ibushi matches, it's noteworthy that even though Ibushi is one of the biggest babyfaces in wrestling, he does have a dark side to him, and on rare occasions do certain people bring out that dark side of Ibushi. Not since Okada brought it out at the Tokyo Dome in early 2020 have we seen it, until stubborn old Suzuki beats up and kicks down Ibushi once they get back in the ring. The majority of this match is both men hitting each other with stiff strikes, real scary moments where both men are laughing maniacally. It gets real uncomfortable, but you can't look away. The finish of this match is Kodabushi escaping a Boston Crab and hits Suzuki with a few knee strikes, pulls down his knee pad and knocks Suzuki out with the Kamigoye. While knocked out, Suzuki still has a smile on his face. The only way for Ibushi to beat Suzuki had to bring Ibushi down to his level. He had to become the bastard that Suzuki's become, and that is a victory in Suzuki's eyes. When explained like that, this match is absolutely phenomenal. This is in my top 10 personal favorite matches of all time, and I love it so much. This was my most wanted to see match ever, and I wasn't disappointed at all. It's a decent length too, just being shy of 17 minutes. But I highly recommend this match to new time viewers to New Japan. This match, as well as the main event. The genius and beauty about the G1 Climax 2 is it's a perfect tool to have certain dream matches wrestling fans want to see. With two names being announced to be in the same block is all you need to hear to get excited. All you need to do next is mark the date on your calendar. This was one of those matches for me. As it is tradition for New Japan main events, the match does kind of start off a bit slow, but by no means is it boring. They do this for 3 reasons. Number 1, it's a pretty lengthy match, being at 27 minutes and 45 seconds. And number 2, you gotta calm the audience down from the excitement from the last match, otherwise they'll be too tired for this match. And 3, both wrestlers are feeling each other out and setting things up for the latter half of the match. With that being said, the only bit of context you need for this match is that Okada's finishing move is the Rainmaker, a ripcord lariat and my personal favorite finishing move in all of wrestling. Ever since New Japan came back from the COVID pandemic, Okada's been testing out a new move, a submission move he calls the Money Clip. The problem is that barely anyone buys the move as a convincing finish. Okada wants to put away Shingo with the Money Clip, but he's never faced Shingo ever. This is the first time meeting between these two, and Shingo isn't prepared for Okada at his best. Absolutely amazing sequence after absolutely amazing sequence. It's hard to describe move by move what happens in this match without me being here all day. But to give you an understanding of how much the crowd were into this match, since New Japan's return from the COVID pandemic, wrestling fans are required to wear masks and not allowed to make audible noise, which explains why they've been mostly clapping and stomping the whole night. But in certain moments in this match, the crowd can't help themselves and audibly gasp, which shows how good this match is. While Okada has Shingo in the Money Clip, Shingo is pulling away towards the ropes for a break, before Okada backslides him and hits Shingo with the first Rainmaker since January at the Tokyo Dome. Okada goes for another one, but Shingo counters into a Rainmaker of his own, along with mocking Okada's Rainmaker pose. With 3 minutes left on the time limit, Okada hits a spinning Rainmaker and locks on the Money Clip. Shingo struggles his way to get out of the hold. Okada drops Shingo with a backbreaker and locks on this hold tighter. With Shingo looking like his eyes are about to pop out of his head, Shingo, in the end, passes out to the Money Clip. The referee stops the match and awards the victory to the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada. After the match, Shingo eventually gets to his feet, looks at Okada, and tells him, "Let's do this one more time," as the show and the night comes to a close. This night is perfect in every way. Every match is way different from the other. It's a perfect way to introduce someone who doesn't watch Japanese wrestling or wrestling in general, and more often than not, guaranteed to get them hooked on wrestling. This whole card is chock full of amazing storytelling, the best wrestlers in the world, and some of the greatest wrestling of the year. And luckily for New Japan, it's just another Friday night. This is my personal favorite night in wrestling history, and hopefully you can understand why. And hopefully I explained it pretty well. I recently rewatched this show multiple times to get myself ready for this year's G1 Climax. New Japan Pro Wrestling are going to have to step up their game this year to try and top this night. But it's just one night out of 19. And it just goes to show that the G1 Climax is an all-timer.
Let there be rain, and there was rain. Let there be rain, and there was rain. Ooh, me.